Hello, wrestling fans. Freddie Cornell coming at you at Big Time Pro Wrestling. We are the guests right here in the house of the one and only, the brother of the late Buzz Sawyer, but we're also here with one of the wrestling legends himself, Brett Sawyer. Brett, thanks for having us here, by the way.
I appreciate you coming.
And with yourself here and your better half behind you here. You're actually from Texas, am I correct?
I'm actually from Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
But you just moved back.
But I just moved. I was living in Texas for 4 years after my wife passed away, and met Laura a while back, and the rest was history.
All right. So you're actually from Point Pleasant, West Virginia, you said, right?
Yeah.
And now, how old was you before you moved away from here?
10 years old.
10 years old.
Moved to Florida. Our house burned up, and we moved to Florida.
Now that's you and Buzz.
Yeah, Buzz, me, and my father, my other brothers. They're all dead now, but yeah, we moved to Florida to live.
Okay. Now did you have other brothers? Now it was just you and Buzz in the wrestling business?
And then my older brother Glenn, he was a boxer. He died at 25. Seen a lot of deaths in my life and family.
Right. Now, tell me, let's shoot it off right here with, I know, what got you into business? I know your brother Buzz was into business, so what got you into business?
Well, I really wanted to do pro baseball. I was out on the beach painting one day, and my brother pulled up in a brand new Trans Am, told me to get in the car. And I got in the car and we went to Knoxville, Tennessee. Bob Armstrong threw me a pair of referee uniform and started training with Buzz, Matt Bourne, and Ricky Steamboat. And the rest was history. I did everything you could do in pro wrestling. Youngest guy to ever beat Ric Flair. I was 19 years old. 5 different times out in the Pacific Northwest for Don Owens, one of the best promoters in the world in my book. But you're going to get a different story from every person there, every wrestler you talk to. They always want to knock Buzz, and they wouldn't have knocked him if he was living in his face. That's why I wanted to have a talk today. You know, just to listen to people like Tommy Rich, who all Buzz had to do is cocaine. Well, Tommy did some, I did some. Everybody was doing cocaine back in the 80s. It was just, you did it. But it took a lot of lives, and I've been clean for 30 years. It's just, you don't get on TV and knock dead people like Arn Anderson did, said he knocked Buzz's teeth out. Well, first of all, it wasn't it was one tooth, and it was in a car accident he had in his Porsche. Then Tommy Rich is always talking about, oh, Buzz had to do his coke first. Well, Tommy had to do his coke and drink his beer. He couldn't go to bed until he filled a cooler up. But I'm not here to knock nobody. I'm just here to stand up for my brother who's dead. Anybody talking about a dead person, I think's got problems anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now you said the incident of Arn Anderson about he knocked Buzz's teeth out.
That's so much bullshit.
So that was you're trying to say that's false, correct?
That's totally false, and I'd take a lie detector test in a heartbeat. And really, to be honest with you, I'd like to take Arn Anderson in a ring. He thinks he's so tough. I'd get him on the ground. He wouldn't get back up. He never did amateur wrestling a day in his life. Me and my brother were two of the best in Dixie Hollins High School. My brother was the best. He was 9th grade, beating 12th graders in 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. And Arn Anderson comes out, and we started wrestling before he did. He acts like he's Hulk Hogan. But he's always talking shit about people. I mean, just like the what's that tag team partner from Tennessee, always knocking other wrestlers. What do they get out of that? That's what I don't understand.
Right.
You know, I could sit here and knock people all day long, but why? You know what I'm saying? I think
Absolutely.
there's jealousy in there. I think they just try to make themselves look better, you know. I come on here and tell you, yeah, I did some cocaine in the 80s, but, you know, you don't, the way Tommy Rich said it is like Buzz did it till the day he died. Well, so Tommy, he just got lucky.
Yeah, because you look back in the 80s, I mean, you know, I was watching wrestling back in the 80s, but, you know, I know a lot of the legends and stuff, and as you were saying, you know, in the 80s, professional wrestling in the 70s and 80s was really huge everywhere, and the wrestlers was like rock stars.
Yeah, and if you think about it, the NWA pretty much paved the road for WWE wrestlers and stuff like that, because you watch wrestling nowadays, personally, it's hard to watch, to be honest with you, at WWE. And I know they sold out to Walt Disney in 2018, but I haven't seen no one. I heard they let 25 guys go last month. They must have, so that Walt Disney must be starting to take control. And twice they wouldn't let Vince in his own shows. Well, that wasn't his, because what it is, he wanted a football team, and he tried to tell the NFL that he paid all the wrestlers off for his head concussions. Well, Billy Jack, I got him started training in Portland, Oregon, and he was a little older to be starting wrestling, but he did it for about 5 years, I think. But then he goes around knocking every promoter and knocking Vince McMahon. Well, you could sit there and knock Vince McMahon all day long, but he's a billionaire, so he had to do something right. And do I like him? No. But am I going to sit here and knock him? No.
So Billy Jack Haynes, you got him in the business?
Oh, yeah.
I know previously I watched interview one of the people did with him and stuff. The story that's going around, see, you got him in the business. You think the story he's telling people is true, where he was supposedly one of the big cocaine dealers around at the time?
I'd never seen him deal cocaine in my life. He came to my house in Oregon, Beaverton, Oregon. I lived for 6 years, and he was normal. He sold a lot of steroids. Then he tells a story about how Vince McMahon sent pills to everybody in their motel room and this and that. That's completely bullshit. That never happened in a million years. Ask any wrestler and see if they got a package from Vince McMahon with painkillers. And here's Billy Jack trying to, because now you don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, and that's all his fault. You know what I mean? He got a couple year good run in New York with Vince. Vince tried to help him, but he's just the type of guy that he's sort of stubborn, and when he don't want to do something, he don't do it.
Right. Now,
and that's why every time you see him, think about it. You never see him talking about how great the business is. He's either knocking guys or he's knocking Vince about sending drugs that he didn't send. Think about it. Vince McMahon don't need to send these guys drugs. They get them on their own if they want to. And Vince, like I said, I don't like him, but I'm not going to say here and lie for Billy Jack Haynes, because to me, he's nothing but a whiner and cry, and now he don't have nothing. He was on the top, now he's all the way at the bottom, and the best thing you can do when you're at the bottom is, if you fall down, you got to get back up. It's pretty much down to earth.
So we going to move forward here to look at. So we covered your area that you from, and you went to Texas. When you moved to Texas, was it a reason why you moved down there? Was it for the wrestling business?
No, had too many people in Florida coming up to me, but my wife had passed. She fought cancer for 3.5 years, and in 2016, July 7th, she died. Was married 37 years.
And that's when you moved to Texas there?
Yeah, my best friend lived there.
Okay, so you was actually lived in Florida then?
I lived in Florida
All
until my wife died, and after she died, I moved to Florida, or
Okay.
to Corsicana, Texas.
Okay. And so we're
Now
gonna
I'm back in my hometown where I was born, Point
Right.
Pleasant, West Virginia.
absolutely. And so we so let's start off with some of the promotions that you work for. Ever want to call some of them off stuff? We want to start off first. Georgia Championship Wrestling. At the time, can you give us some updates on that? Who was the booker and all that at the time that you were involved in Georgia?
When I was there, it was Arn Anderson, not Anderson, Ole Anderson. I think it was definitely Ole Anderson. We got along great. I went as Brett Wayne then. I just left Portland, Oregon after 6 years as Hacksaw Sawyer. Then I came in because my brother was booking it. So he called me and told me he'd give me a nice little push. Of course, your brother, I would hope so. And I'd gotten 6 years of working with Andre the Giant, Ric Flair, Buddy Rose, the Rock's dad, Rocky Johnson. He helped me a lot. Nice guy. But if you smoke pot, he didn't want to get in the car with you. But half the time he'd get in it with me, and half the time he wouldn't. But nice guy. God bless him. He died about a year ago, maybe a little longer. His son, I remember The Rock when he was 4 years old, because all the wrestlers stayed in this one place in North Carolina when that was Crockett's promotion. But The Rock, he was running around at 4 years old doing what he wanted to do.
So you mentioned Andre. I mean, we
Nicest guy in the world.
we watched some documentaries on there on Andre and stuff, and a lot of feedback on him. They said he was a very nice guy. I mean, did you ever happen to be in any clubs or anything with him when you
Oh
drunk?
yeah, I drove him around every time he came into Oregon. Don Owens paid me, and he broke my seat. So I went and told Don Owens, and he's like, "Well, Hack, you go tell him." And I was like, "No, he works for you." He was just joking with me, and he paid for it. But it sat there, and he'd get 2 bottles of vodka and a case of Budweiser for like a 300-mile trip, and he'd hold a beer, and you couldn't even see it. And back then, I did drink a little bit, but he's the nicest guy in the world. He died at 44 because he had his bones wouldn't quit growing, and they went through his brain, and that's what killed him at the age, I think, 44. And the guy that used to help him on his ranch was a referee in Florida. I can't think of his name, but he gave him the house and the property because he didn't have no family here. So,
That was Tim, right?
Yep.
Yep, Tim. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to move forward now. Did you go to Georgia? You left Georgia and you went to the NWA. Is that what?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what? And now, did you go as Brett Wayne Sawyer then?
Brett Wayne.
Brett Wayne.
Then I went as Brett Wayne, and then I beat Jake the Snake for the national heavyweight belt. And we just worked an angle, and nobody knew I was Buzz's brother. That's why I went to Oregon, so people wouldn't say I hung on his tail.
Absolutely.
Made my own name, and then when I came back, we got my mother involved, and we worked a 2-year deal with the Road Warriors, and Buzz turned babyface, and then he turned babyface, and we did it for 2 years, and then the Road Warriors we was the first team to ever beat them, tag team to ever beat them, and then
You said your mother. That's a question we had for you here, because that's one of the questions we was going to bring up. So was that really your mother?
yeah, Gypsy Warrior.
Was you and Buzz comfortable bringing her involved in that?
Very much, yeah. She loved pro wrestling since we was in it, and she watched us. Didn't miss nothing.
Now you mentioned winning the title from Jake. Can you tell us some story of Jake? How you and Jake got along? Right,
I got along great with Jake, to be honest with you. It's like even if I didn't get along with the wrestler, you can't get along with every wrestler because they all got different personalities. And I didn't have a problem with nobody. A lot of them had problems with me because I was little. I was about $180, but it's about the pencil. You can promote somebody and you can push somebody, but if they start screwing up, then you turn that pencil around and they use that eraser, and then you turn into a job boy. You know what I mean? But I respect the business. I've been in it for 35 years, trained wrestling school for 28 years. I did everything a man could do in pro wrestling. I can think of, I've won every belt that was out there a couple times. It's just, pro wrestling is a lot of politics involved in it. It's really who you know. It's like, what's those guys' names from Memphis that's always knocking wrestlers? What was their name? What is it? Long blonde hair. One of them, the other one's sort of bald. No, Midnight Express. Yeah, Midnight Express.
Yeah, you're talking about Jim Cornette.
No, I'm talking about the Midnight Express.
Okay.
And Jim Cornette, too. Those three are about the most famous guys I've seen on YouTube knocking people. I'm here, you know, they was great wrestlers, but I'm not going to, they had problems. They did cocaine, but they're not going to come out and tell you like I did. You know, it's your own personal life, and you tell people what you want to, but the public's not stupid. You gotta look at people and respect everybody. Nobody in this world's better, and we all put our pants on the same way. But you get, what irks me on YouTube is when you see these, oh, well, this guy, he was the drizzling shits, he should have never been this. Oh, I'm not, like Arn Anderson, I knocked Buzz Sawyer's teeth out. Well, that tooth that was knocked out was, he had wrecked his Porsche, and he hit the steering wheel and knocked it out, and he's claiming he knocked all his teeth out and all this. And he'd been dead for 30 years. It just irked my ass to hear that. And I told him and the Undertaker, I said, you guys sign $1,000, or I'll throw $1,000 down just to get you in the ring, because I'd love to beat the shit out of both of them. They talk so much trash, and it's just ridiculous. To a person who's been dead for 30 years.
Absolutely, I completely understand where you're coming from there. Now you
and you don't see me sitting here knocking them, and I could, but I'm not, because that's not my style.
Absolutely. Now you mentioned the Road Warriors. Recently, we just lost Animal in the wrestling business, and before that was Hulk.
Well, Hulk died from somas. It's a muscle relaxer. I used to take it myself. I ain't gonna lie. It's like, it's a strong muscle relaxer. It shouldn't be given to nobody because, first of all, what it did to Hall, which one was it?
Hulk.
The first one, Hulk. What it was, he was eating 20 or 30 a day. And just to get you, it's like cocaine. You do one line, you want to do 20 lines. And I'm not a drug professional, but been around a lot of it in the early 80s, and now that I'm 60 years old, I feel 25. I'm in great health. Thank God that I quit all that pro wrestling with steroids. that's what happened to Dynamite Kid was selling them, and then the guy from Canada, he's the one that really got WWE. It wasn't Vince's fault, it was him. He got a doctor that would write him every steroid in the world, and he'd go back to WWE and sell it to the boys. Just destroying people's lives. But
How was Hulk in the ring and stuff, and the Road Warriors? You all had to feud with the Road Warriors.
for 2 years we worked it out.
How was it? Everybody said they would like to demolish people. Would they try that with you and your brother?
I tell you what, they were the nicest guys. Me and Buzz helped train them when they came in working for Ole. And when I got in the ring with them, I mean, they put me over. They sold for me. I didn't never ever have a problem with them. Well, they broke my wrist once, but it was an accident. This isn't ballet, you know. You gotta expect to get hurt once in a while. I never had a problem with them. And
Can you say that? Can you say that one more time for me, please? What you just said? This ain't ballet. Expect to what?
This isn't ballet. You gotta expect to get hurt in pro wrestling and after a period of time, because
That's coming from a legend right there, y'all. Like we have. I mean, we get that a lot around. So like I mean, you expect to get hurt, but you know, of course, you got to take care of your opponents. So like that.
You got to, and you know, Buzz was stiff. I'll be the first to tell you, because he wanted to look real, and if he didn't like a guy, well, they was pacing. You knew who they was working with Buzz, because they was pacing up and down in the back, and I'd just be like, "Oh, you working with my brother tonight?" "Yeah, I'm just afraid he's going to hurt me." I was like, "Well, just go out and listen to him," because most of the job boys was really down to earth and humble, and I mean, they're just as good as the top guys. You know, you can't. There's not there's a level there where, like, if the Road Warriors would have broke, if I'd have thought they broke my wrist on purpose, well, that would have been a problem, and I'm sure Buzz would have took care of it. But it was an accident. They apologized 100 times, and I let it go. I never had a problem with them, and I worked with them. We worked an angle with them, Buzz and I, because that's when he turned babyface for 2 years.
Did you ever go over to Japan, Henny?
Yeah, been there a lot. Best place in the world. Me and Buzz had a blast over there. You go over 5 weeks at a time, and you come back with big money. Sometimes you had to tape it around your back, your legs, because you can't bring. When you come through customs, you can only bring $9,999 with you. And we had a lot more than that. So you try to wire as much as you can home, but you can only wire 10 grand in a year on Western Union and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. The hardest part was getting the money home so you didn't have to pay taxes on it.
Yeah. Now we're going to skip Japan. Now we're Puerto Rico.
Japan.
Puerto Rico? You ever worked there?
Oh yeah, I hated Puerto Rico. My brother told me, he's like, "Brett, don't go to Puerto Rico." I was like, I need the money, I gotta go. Me and Junkyard Dog went to Puerto Rico and went over there, and I was a heel there, and went over there, and man, they was throwing batteries and hitting us in the head with it and shit. And
is that for Cologne?
Huh?
Carlos Colon?
Carlos. Wow.
Is that who it's for?
He would, after he killed in the dressing room, he stabbed not Junkyard Dog. Well, Junkyard Dog told me about it, but Tony Atlas seen it happen. Was it Carlos? Jose.
It was Invader 1.
Invader number 1.
Yeah, stabbed him 3 times, and we went out drinking that night. And
was you there for that when that happened?
No. Junkyard Dog told me about it. He said that Jose, whoever that was, stabbed him 3 times in the shower, and he died. And that night, about 2 hours later, he showed up at the bar. Couldn't believe it. And then I told Junkyard Dog, I said, I'm out of here. He said, me too. So Jose came to our motel room and told us, he goes, listen, you guys leave, I'll be planting cocaine in your bedroom or in your motel room, and you'll go to jail. I was like, oh, we're going to pay our taxes here, you know. I said, I pay taxes in the United States, but we'll pay him, don't worry. As soon as he walked out that door, Junkyard Dog looked at me, he says, Brett, we're out of here tonight. We're sneaking through the airport at 4 o'clock in the morning, and just like we robbed somebody or something, but Puerto Rico is a bunch of crooks, a bunch of crooked people.
Now, we seen some footages where you also on Mid-South. How was that?
Mid-South, that was Bill Watts. You know, Bill Watts could be nice some days. I didn't like Bill Watts, to be honest with you. One day he'd pay you, it would shock you, and the next day it would be underpaid and it would shock you. And I got tired of that bullshit. And Buzz was there, and I told him, I said, I ain't even giving a notice, because once you give a notice, you got to do jobs for 3 weeks. So I was like, I ain't doing it. I ain't even giving a notice. I'm walking out and leaving. And I didn't want to work for him, and I walked out and left, and then my brother joined me about 3 months later.
Let's move forward to when it turned into WCW, NWA. I saw some footages there for you then. Did they ever offer you any full contract there when it first began, when it first started switching over? Because I saw some footages when they put you in the ring with Sid Vicious and all them guys.
Yeah. No, they didn't give me no contract. A lot of guys say they got contracts that didn't get contracts. And the only people I knew that got contracts were people like Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, the big names. And anybody else I can tell you Sid Vicious or none of those guys got contracts. They can tell you they did, but I can tell you I did too, but I didn't. But they didn't either. The big names, there was only like 10 contracts signed, so you can figure that out for yourself. There's a couple thousand wrestlers, but it was 10 contracts signed.
World Class Championship Wrestling, the Von Erichsen stuff. Was you ever down that area?
Yeah,
Because Buzz was there, right?
Yeah, I was there with Buzz. Me and him was tagging. Then him and Kerry Von Erich worked a little angle, and I like the Von Erichs. Basically, there's only one of them left. He's living in Hawaii. My best friend Tommy Rogers, who was one of the Fantastics, me and him grew up together. When I moved to Florida, he's the first guy I ever met. And I got into pro wrestling when in Oregon. I called Tommy. I said, come on out here, I'll train you. And he came out and trained him, and the rest was history with him and, what was his tag team?
Bobby Fulton.
Bobby Fulton. Yeah, they had a nice little run. Then he went with Von Erich over to Hawaii, and the cops said from the day they got there till the day Tommy died over there, they'd been nothing but trouble, which I believe. But that was just their nature, having fun. And Tommy, he died the same way as Hulk or Animal, I can't remember which one it was, but the first one that died, eating somas. But what he did, he got pulled over, and the cop got cocky with him from what he says, and he beat a cop up, and that's not the smartest thing in the world to do. So they gave him, he had a court date to show up, and he didn't show up, so they went to his house, and they had to kick the door open, and there he was with a bottle of 90 somas. There was 40 of them missing, and a bottle of wine. He was dead. Then I went on Facebook and raised $2,500 to get his body shipped back from Hawaii, and then his sister took control and had a little funeral, and that was
for Tommy
a year.
Roger?
Yeah, that was a year before my wife died.
We used you mentioned that. I mean, Tommy was a great guy. Tommy Rogers. I mean,
Oh yeah.
we actually used him in '98, '99. We did when we was running some shows in West Virginia, and we actually flew him in from Florida,
Yeah, that's where
Pensacola,
he's from. Yeah, Pensacola.
and it was him.
He grew up in St. Petersburg, Florida. We were best friends. Had the greatest parents in the world. Yeah, nice guy, Tommy. And
He always came in with him and Marty Jannetty came in together.
Yeah. Now me and Marty Jannetty used to be tag team partners. Yeah.
Can you tell us some things about the how's that?
Oh, me and Marty. He was probably one of my best partners besides my brother. Marty Jannetty was one of a kind. He was Marty, and he had something on his mind. He'd tell you about it. He wouldn't bullshit you. I like Marty to this day, and I've always liked him. He's a really down-to-earth guy. I think he's a great guy. There's not a thing I could say bad about him.
Yeah. Do you think, in your opinion, do you think that if he would have changed his ways a little bit,
he'd have got a lot further. That was his downfall. Is he was a little cocky, and my brother took that cockiness out of me, as I was telling you earlier. But you can't be cocky in pro wrestling. You got to be humble. You gotta. It's just that was his worst downfall, and that's probably why he didn't get the push he deserved. But you cannot be in pro wrestling because it's politics, and it's not how good you can wrestle, it's who you know.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. So like that, because I always took a note at in the classes we always took. One of my mentors that helped me out in that business and trained me a lot was Jimmy Valiant.
Nicest guy in the world.
And he always told us in class and everything, work well with others when you're climbing up that ladder, because when you're climbing down, you'll run into them. And I always took that advice there. And,
that's 100% right. And the Boogie Woogie man, he was in the dressing room. He'd make people laugh, and he was just a happy-go-lucky guy. I never had a problem with him. We always got along, and he was a hell of a. He knew how to put asses in the seat, and he knew how to get those people in the palm of his hand and rear and go. I mean, he was.
There's a guy in Tennessee that goes by Sawyer and claims he.
Oh boy, I
Buzz.
just seen that 2 weeks ago. He looks a little like Buzz, but then I looked at his mother's age. It was 14, and Buzz was in the 21 or 22. That guy, he is so full of shit. He has nothing to do with.
Yeah, that's one of the questions that one of the fans was wanting me to ask you there about him. Was that truly your nephew?
No, hell no. As a matter of fact, Buzz has got two sons, Waylon Woyen and Justin Woyen. And Justin called me about a week ago. He can ask my fiance, and he was like, "Brett, do I got a brother?" I was like, "Do what?" I was like, "Oh, I seen that shit." I was like, "That's somebody trying to live off your dad's name after he's been dead for 30 years. Don't pay no attention to it. He's just another wrestler trying to get another wrestler's gimmick and get over." And that guy, I've never seen him wrestle or nothing. I've seen 2 pictures of him. Can he wrestle?
I mean, he can work. I mean, I don't like, as a promoter, I mean, he's okay. I mean, I've seen worse, but I just wanted to get that clarified up because
I can tell you right now, from what I know, and I'm 100% positive that there's no way in hell that's Buzz's. That would have came up many years ago. Think about it. This guy just. A lot of guys will take other guys' gimmick. And that's the worst. That's the best way to get heat in pro wrestling, is take another guy's name or gimmick or shit like that. Yes. People like that, I try to ignore.
You want to create your own gimmick, and you know, I mean, many people, you know, always. 'Cause when I first started in the business, when I was a few guys in the area wanted me to go as Freddie Fargo, one of the Fargos.
Yeah.
And I knew them on TV, but I'm like, why would I go by Fargo? I know the wrestlers Fargo brothers. I mean, I have all the respect for the legend stuff, but I mean, I don't even follow myself with them. I mean, why would I do that? I mean,
it's like these. When I seen the picture of this guy, I was like, you know, yeah, he looks like Buzz. He's bald like Buzz. A lot of people's bald. I was like, but Buzz never had an affair with it and had a kid with some girl or something like that. That guy is 100, and I would put my life on that he's 110% wrong.
Yes. Now you said, we're going to skip back down to earlier on our conversation. You said the Armstrongs, Bob Armstrong stuff. Now, did you happen to, when you got in that business with the Armstrongs, was any of his sons getting into business at the time?
Yeah, Brad was. Just Brad at that time, because that was in '79, because I was a referee. And that's how I learned how to call matches. But it paid off being a referee for 3 months, because everybody's like, I didn't know you was a referee, Brett. I was like, oh yeah, I learned more there almost than I did in the wrestling school. Because everybody calls matches different. A lot of guys will use Carney, like tis ankle, tis up, tis down, tis it, tis os, and they'll be yelling at the crowd, but they're calling high spots, you know what I mean? And the crowd don't know what the hell they're saying. So I learned that, and then how to get a guy close to you and just talk and try not to get your lips to move. One tackle, drop down, hip toss, leapfrog, drop kick, arm drag. You know, and a lot of guys, I'm getting ready to open up a wrestling school August 5th, and I wouldn't train somebody if they're not interested. It takes a lot of endurance. It takes a lot of time. A lot of people think, oh, I got muscles, I can be a pro wrestler. Like I said earlier, you can promise, you can think you're going to be a pro wrestler, but if you don't got no pull with people, you got a big problem.
Absolutely. Now you talking about earlier on the day, earlier on our conversation here about Undertaker. Now, when was your first time you all met each other then?
Well, I met him when he was training with Buzz in California. And he flew out of there because he's from Florida. And, no, I take that back. It was Georgia, because I had a wrestling school in Georgia. And Buzz trained him, and he got cocky. So Buzz stretched him. And Buzz would have been a golden. He was a 9th grader beating 12th graders, like I said, in 30 seconds. And he got cocky, and Buzz stretched him, and he never came back. And then what all we heard was, oh, Buzz robbed me, Buzz robbed me. No, what he did the wrong thing. Just talk back. You broke into business. Did you talk back to the guy that was training you? Hell no, you listened to him. I mean, I did.
To me, that's any sport. Don't matter if it's wrestling, baseball,
Exactly.
little league. I mean, you got to listen to your coaches. Any sport, and even not sport. I mean, it's just a job. You go to a job. You know, you get trained at McDonald's. You got to learn how to grill.
He's made millions now. You know what I'm saying? And that's because of one thing: the pencil. That pencil can make you or break you. You know what I mean? That's a big difference. Yeah.
We're going to move forward. One of the questions we're going to ask you, Buddy Rose.
Nicest guy in the world. He would bring me to his house, and we'd watch videos after videos. And I'd say, well, I got to go home, buddy. Well, I got one more I want to show you. And I'd stay there sometimes till 2 o'clock in the night watching videos and just shooting the shit with Buddy. He died, oh God, it was a while back, probably 9 years ago.
Car accident, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Now, he had some wrestlers in there.
He died, and I didn't find out for that time. At that time that he died, I was sort of, everybody's like, what happened to Brett Sawyer? I just stayed secluded and just doing my thing, sticking to myself. I'm pretty much a private guy, to be honest with you. But I'm happy, definitely, now. But the last 4 years, it was rough without my wife. And then I met a woman that was out of this world.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad for you to have us here today. Getting an update on you.
I watch your show. It's a great show, and just what I didn't like is just everybody gets on there and knocks people. I'm like,
absolutely.
What do you want to knock somebody that's even a live person? You know what I mean? Now, it'd have been different if they had knocked Buzz when he was living, because he would have went to your show and he'd have paid you $500 to get his 2 cents in. Yeah. And that's the least I could do for my brother. You know, you don't knock people that's dead. If you do, you got issues. Absolutely. I think, personally. You know, there's been, like, the only guy I really hated in pro wrestling was David Schultz. One of the cockiest, arrogant guys I ever met in my life.
One more person before we end it today and stuff like that. And I know I saw some videos of y'all, and he's no longer here with us. He actually passed away with cancer as well. Tracy Smothers.
He came to Oregon, and he was just starting. This was 81 or 82. Nicest guy in the world. Nicest guy. I mean, he was just, if every wrestler, when they broke into business, had his personality and his attitude, I think they'd have went a lot farther. And Tracy was one hell of a guy. I really liked him a lot.
Yeah, me and him was really good friends. And
I didn't even know he had cancer. I had cancer anyway.
Yeah, he got it, and he fought it a long battle, and actually was, I was really pleased while he was sick and going through that. He came to Huntington, going to a benefit show they was having for him in West Virginia, and we got to, sit down and spend time. He loved KFC in Huntington, and we stopped there, and we got pictures me and him does, and I actually got a text on my phone that I kept, about 3 or 4 weeks before he passed. And he texted me, and
super nice guy.
I mean, he did a lot of seminars and trained a lot of my students, and I actually learned so much psychology
from him. And that's everything in pro wrestling, is knowing the psychology. And Tracy, nobody, I can't think of a person, to be honest with you, that don't like him.
Absolutely. I mean,
that's just how nice a guy he was. He went out of his way to be nice to some guys that were just assholes. I never seen him lose his temper or nothing. He just went on and did his own thing.
Absolutely. One of the greats.
Yeah.
Once again, I want to thank you and your better half behind you there for having us here in your home. Actually looking forward to maybe having you at one of our shows and as a guest and stuff, and drop some knowledge on some guys and stuff. And I'll be sure to tell Boogie. Actually, we do a show every year. It's called Boogie Bash, and maybe you can join us for that.
Give me a call.
All right, this is Freddie Cornell with Big Time Pro Wrestling, here with Brett Sawyer, and we hope to see you soon at ringside.
Okay, have a great day.